Welcome. They're going to tell you a story, and we're going to tell you our opinion.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Creative Optics USA. And what we were talking about today is H.R.1. It's something the Democrats are pushing through. Let's say the Democratic Party, to be considerate, is pushing through, and we believe, well, I believe, that they are trying to control the electoral process because they think they're going to lose in 2020. Go ahead, Michael. What's your point on this?
The bill is composed of over 571 pages, which we know that most of the time they never read. It's put together by pundits that have an agenda. It's actually hitting issues that have been addressed all the way to the Supreme Court. Everything from voting to ethics to campaign finance reform. Remember how they made it so everybody could give their money except foreign entities? There was no limitations. Remember how the Supreme Court said about the voting laws of you had to basically filter your roles. You couldn't leave dead people on it. You couldn't be inactive, and that could be actually removed. We also go into ethics. They would like ethics on the Supreme Court. Ethics, you mean like how the original Supreme Court said it was okay for black people to be considered half a person and be a slave? So there are good things in it and there are bad things in it. Some of it is intentionally looking to assault Trump. For example, they want to address the fact he's not released his taxes versus other presidents. They want it mandatory. They're addressing issues on his entanglements of business that he has supposedly passed over to his son, and that they want to know exactly all the ins and outs and the details of it. But one of the things that I find interesting in this is we've been doing this process for quite some time, and all of a sudden now we've got the ultimate solution to fix everything about voting, about campaign finance reform and ethics and everything. But what happened for the last 8 years under President Obama or under Bush? Elections are the American people's pleasure and privilege as a citizen. And that is the case to really say that if you put a stranglehold on the whole process of do's and don'ts, we're just opening the door and saying, hey, come on in, everybody. You end up with a mess.
Yeah, and can I interject, Michael?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
It's also letting illegals vote, right?
No, there's another piece of legislation that does address that says those who come in the country unlawfully have the right to vote. Part of this legislation underneath that addresses voter registration through your license. So if you get a driver's license, you are registered. Well, in California, you can be an illegal, get a driver's license, and be also registered to vote. It clearly says on the voter's guide or pamphlet that if you are not a citizen, that you cannot vote, though. It's violating the law. So there you go. The law is
already... and hence the sanctuary state, California. That's a big part of the dynamic that's going on. So H.R.1, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Michael.
Yeah, the problem we always get into is we get repetitive laws, or we get laws that are trying to change laws that have already gone to the Supreme Court. Is example, voter ID. You're required to have ID and everything. Well, this is a place that we need it. They don't want it. Therefore, there's the problem.